Welcome to Post-Game Gossip, where nothing goes unsaid and nothing is off limits. This is your backstage pass to the unfiltered, behind-the-scenes conversations. From wild dating disasters to jaw-dropping relationship revelations, we're diving deep into the raw truth about love, lust, and everything in between. It's like your favorite locker room chat, but for your love life. The drama, the laughs, the lessons, it's all happening right here. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Welcome to Post-Game Gossip. Rob, welcome to Post-Game Gossip. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't know why I'm nervous because usually you know me, I speak very openly and very freely, but I'm excited to see what's coming.
I'm sure you'll ease up pretty quick and start speaking freely like you always do. Tell the people what they really want to
Of
hear.
course.
You go by Perseus, not by Robbie. Tell the people what you do.
Of course. So pretty much what I do is I rap and I make music. Although to be quite frank, I think over the last year or so, I don't really rap anymore. I more sing. I do like this trap slash reggaeton slash Afro beats, whatever you want to name it. But I kind of stepped out of rap a little bit. I do enjoy myself singing a lot and doing like melodic songs and stuff. So yeah, I've been doing music now for 5 years almost. Yeah, to be honest, it's more of a hobby right now. Like it's not paying or anything, but welcome to Switzerland with no music industry. So yeah.
Yeah, you were definitely more in the scene when you were in Cyprus for sure.
I mean, to be honest, I don't regret not being in that scene anymore. I just feel like the scene in Cyprus just gets you to a certain point. Yes, it's a party island, but you only can like you're gonna hit ceiling at some point and you can't go any further. There's a lot of tricks being played as well in that industry. People don't get paid or people get paid super late. So it's not a regret for sure. If I see my life in Switzerland like Elise's Robbie himself and not Perseus, I don't regret it.
That's always good,
Yeah,
living life with no regrets.
of
All
course.
right,
What do you think
Robbie,
to
we're gonna
your
get
your
in
move?
my
So
move
I
to
just wanted to
Switzerland.
ask your move to Switzerland was also no regret, I think.
Oh no, it was the best decision of my life for sure. Being close to my baby nephew right now and being close to my brother and sister-in-law and my parents as well, it's definitely been the best move for me. So, family's everything.
Preach. Amen.
Well, we got some hefty topics today. We're going to talk a little bit of
Facts.
finance and relationships, and we're going to talk about healthy jealousy and toxic jealousy. Because sometimes I feel like we just don't know the boundaries anymore. So I'm just going to come
That
out
is
here
facts.
and give it to you. So here we go. How do you define healthy jealousy versus toxic jealousy? What's the biggest difference for you?
So I actually just want to say already, I've been on the spectrum of both. So I've been through toxic jealousy and I've been through healthy jealousy. And the main thing that I've understood from both of them is healthy jealousy comes in the form of interest. So I'll give also examples to kind of explain like why it's so different to me. Let's say you have person A, right, your partner, and you're about to go out. The questioning comes more out of interest. So it's like, oh, you're gonna go out, cool there, blah blah blah. Yeah, so actually, this chick that I hooked up 3 years ago, she's gonna be there. I'm letting you know in advance. And be like, okay, like she's gonna speak to you, you guys hang out, whatever. But this is calm, right? It's like, no, no, nothing's gonna happen. We'll probably just say hi, hi, and then move on about our time in separate groups.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Just let me know when you're there. Text me throughout the night a little bit, you know what's happening. To me, that's healthy jealousy. It's like you show a bit of interest, but you don't try to sabotage it in any type of way. You don't try to make it into an interrogation, start digging into the past when there's no need to. What's in the past is already in the past. A toxic jealousy would be the complete opposite. So you got people asking questions like, oh, but how come she's going to be there when you're going to be there? Like, I haven't heard that she joined any of the other friend group reunions before. So why is she there the night that you're going to be there? And then it starts creating these questions where I have to defend myself. I was like, no, no, no. Like, this is the case. We just all going to hang out together. Does she have a boyfriend? It's like, no, she doesn't. So she's single. So she's going to be playing around because since you're going to be there and stuff. So, these type of things for me is what kind of separates it. It's a little bit like one comes with care and, curiosity, which of course is more than welcome. And the other one comes with interrogation. So you're trying to interrogate me about something I have no control over, about someone's action I have no control over. And of course, that comes down to trust as well. So if you trust
Yeah.
me, you shouldn't have to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good explanation. I feel like I've definitely been on the spectrum of both, but I've also been that person to give the toxic jealousy as well. And I
Facts.
think it definitely, you've heard my stories, and I
I've heard your
definitely think
stories.
it
Yeah.
also comes from the past I've gone through. But you know how you always say, oh, you have to heal before you dive into the next relationship or the next situation. But you're never going to be 100% perfect for the next one because when you've actually been hurt in that manner, it's always going to be a little piece of thought in the back of your head that you're going to go through that again, right?
Mhm.
Um,
100%. And to be honest, I just want to quickly mention the fact that for me, 100% you can go into another relationship without being 100% healed because at the end of the day, you heal with the right person. You don't just heal by yourself. You can work on certain things that you have, certain baggage that you bring from other relationships and stuff, but you will never be the finished product when you first enter a relationship. You become much better. You improve a lot better when you're with the right person. Just as a small point.
yeah, I can agree with that. A lot of people always say, oh, you have to be 100% going into a relationship because no one can fix you and no one can heal you. But like you said, if somebody creates that safe space for you, then you
Yeah,
do get to heal, right, over time. And when I looked this up
100%.
online, it said that healthy jealousy is protective. It says, I care about this. Toxic jealousy is possessive. It says, I own this. So the toxic jealousy is basically like, I own you. You can't go do this and that. And I've caught myself multiple times in this, and I'm not saying like multiple relationships, but in the same relationship, just bringing in old things, saying, you know, if I didn't trust one guy because he was continuously DMing somebody else on Instagram, now if somebody gets a DM from Instagram, it can be a trigger to me, right? But you have to turn that off and you can't just accuse every single person of it. But sometimes it's hard not to, you know, you just have
Yeah.
that, you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I
So,
mean, to be honest, it's exactly like you say. It's there's gonna be certain situations where they're identical, like really one to one. You've lived that before. It's the exact same thing. The thing that also I try to remind myself a lot of times is you're dealing with two different people, though. You know, they're not the same person. The scenario is the same, but the people are different. So depending, of course, on the situation, the people will actually act on different ways. So, helps me at least cope with it. Let's put it that way.
yeah. I mean, you're in such a healthy situation, but I mean, there's other times where I hear all of these stories where I think I don't even know if monogamy is alive anymore, you know, and you're one of those rare occasions where you guys are very happy together, but it's not a normal thing anymore these days. You know, people really switch from one to the other and they see somebody else that catches their eye and right away all the attention goes to that person, you know? And I think that's created a lot of toxicity too, is people just don't have self-control anymore. And
Yep. You
sometimes
touched on,
I try
yep,
to
sorry.
explain this a lot too, is sometimes it's not even me trusting my partner, it's me not trusting the girls because honestly, girls are worse than men sometimes. And as soon as you hear that they're in relationships, girls like kind of make it as a game. I mean, I'm not saying guys don't because they 100% do. It becomes like a challenge to them and they want to overcome that challenge. And as soon as they hit that target, it's done and over with, right? But I think girls are kind of the same thing. And, you know, they think they can't have something. They're like, "Oh, let me prove it to them that I can get what I want." And sometimes it's not even the person that you don't trust. Like, let's say I'm dating a guy, he goes out to a bar and this girl is super hot, keeps like dancing in front of him, you know, and he keeps having more and more and more drinks. She keeps flirting, putting things in his head. I'm not saying that he's going to go cheat because obviously that's him being weak, but sometimes people don't make it easy for others, right?
Yeah, 100%. No, I think you once touched upon one thing actually, which correlates exactly what you're saying. It's people are way too comfortable nowadays, I think, in cheating just because they have so many options. You know,
Mm.
back in the day, you really had to make so many moves and put so much effort into getting to know someone. And if you wanted to cheat, it was really hard because you had to go outside the house and meet that person and whatever. So there was a lot more steps involved. Whereas right now, I really feel like social media plays a big part into it. You know, even you're on Instagram, and let's say I'm a guy, right? So I'll speak for myself. You're on Instagram. The first thing I open my explore page is booty cheeks, right? So it's like it makes
What have you been
everything a
looking
lot.
for?
Yeah. Okay. To be fair, mine is actually more watches and football, but actually, I will not throw any shade. I'll keep it to myself. But yeah,
Good
so
cover.
a lot of guys will have, on their explore page, if the first thing you see is Insta models and, this perfection and whatever, which it has been proven multiple times social media is fake, but in our eyes, a lot of times we forget that. So,
Yeah.
you start comparing. So you're like, okay, this is my girl. I've been with her for 3 years, but it's starting to be the same thing on look at this chick that just texted me or replied to
Yeah.
me or whatever. The temptation starts going there. So before you didn't have the temptation because there was no direct access to you as a person. Now through social media, the access is like that. So then the
Yeah.
moment you get it, you're already falling into temptation.
Yeah. And you're comparing your 3 year relationship to a day one, not even a day one,
Yep.
like a never have met 1 second look type girl, you know? So
Yes.
you're comparing reality versus fantasy. And maybe once you actually get to know that girl, 3 years later, she'd be exact same as what you have at home right now because you do have to work hard for relationships. It doesn't
Of course.
just, stay active and alive and you have to actually work for it and put in work. So and I think that's, we talk about this a lot together is Gen Z and the new generation. They don't like working hard for things. And thank God I'm not in that generation. I'm not trying to date that generation because I'm not a cougar, but it's no. But
Nah,
people
nah.
they definitely don't want to work hard for things anymore. And that's kind of where everything has gone now. What do you think are the early signs that jealousy actually is turning into toxicity? Because you touched on the healthy toxic relation or the
Yeah.
healthy jealousy and then the toxic part.
In my opinion, I think the early signs when you're in a relationship and it starts moving into really that toxic aspect is when your partner starts questioning the most irrelevant things. And I'll explain a little bit how that works and how I've seen it is you have a partner at the beginning who might not care that much about the little details. Everything kind of seems like off, kind of shrug it off. It's like, all cool. The moment they start questioning the little things like, why's your phone ringing at 3 a.m.? Oh, it's just my mom. She couldn't sleep and she just asked me if I could call her. So whatever, just the moment these little irrelevant things start happening, or, sometimes I think we've all been through it. You can't sleep one night and you're just on your phone, right? And your partner might be sleeping and say, why is he on his phone at 2 a.m.? And I might just be scrolling through TikTok with one AirPod in the ear or whatever. But the moment these little irrelevant acts start being questioned and it starts getting worse and worse, specifically, and this is something when we speak about toxicity, we speak about jealousy, obviously, a lot, and control and possessiveness.
Yeah.
When it comes to friend groups, the moment you are starting to lose friends, you're starting to lose contact, you're starting to lose that circle that you have around you, that's already starting to be a hefty sign that something's not right in your relationship. Because as I always say, a relationship should add to your happiness, not take away from it. So if you have a
Yeah.
group of people that make you happy, adding one shouldn't take from everyone else. So the moment it does that, that is something that should ring the alarm.
That's so true. But sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it, right? Sometimes you can be in a situation where, I mean, I've had friends where they backtrack once they're in relationships and they kind of step away from all their friends and their family and they kind of make that one person that they're dating their whole world. Where in my eyes, that's toxic because you need multiple people, you need a circle around you. But that's sometimes it's really hard to tell friends when they're going through that, right? So you have to be able to also speak up as a friend and be like, hey, but how do you do that? How do you say, hey, you're actually spending too much time with your boyfriend or your significant other? And then they can deem it as, well, we're in love and we just want to spend all of our time together.
Well, the thing is, and that's kind of where I wanted to counter you a little bit on it, is on the point of, okay, so 2 points. So first, I think you do know when you're doing it. You just don't want to admit it to yourself. So this is my
Or that, yeah.
opinion. And yeah, you know you're doing it. You just don't want to admit it to yourself. And then the second point is, how do you tell your friend? Well, you tell your friend by being as direct as possible. I've been there. I've had a friend who unfortunately is no longer a friend because he decided my wife is they got married. My wife is my life and I don't need anything else. Nobody else, no parents, no brothers, no nothing. Just my wife. And there were conversations where you just go direct. It's like, man, this marriage is consuming you. This relationship is consuming you. You
Yeah.
really need to take a step back and realize that if this, for whatever reason, doesn't work out, you're alone. Like you will not have anyone. Because the problem is you can always, it kind of sounds a little bit wrong to say it this way. You can always find another love. You can always find another partner, right? I also believe we have multiple soulmates. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but you can always find another partner. But I don't think that you can easily find good friends again, especially nowadays with Gen Z and everything we touched on. It's really
Yeah.
hard to find good friends. So the moment you betray them for one relationship that you don't even know if it's going to work out. Might in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it'll break apart. Then you'll be alone. So this is the way I said it to my friend. Of course, it didn't work. And this is the way I would say it to any other person that would be going through it.
So what do you think? I mean, now that you said that, what's easier to find, good friends or a good relationship? Because you almost said, I mean, you kind of touched on the fact that it's harder to find good friends than a good partner. You
Correct.
actually believe that?
So what's easy? So
Yeah, in your eyes, because when you touched on it just now, it seems like you're trying to
Mhm.
say that friends are actually harder to come by than a partner.
That's facts. It is much harder to find good friends, real friends who will be there for you and actually have your best interest at heart than it is to find a good relationship. If I can touch on it, the only reason why I say this is because with a relationship or being with somebody, you can have a decent relationship as long as you're somewhat compatible. So that isn't that hard. Finding good friends isn't just being compatible. It's being there during the tough times. It's being able to accept the other person on their lowest and being able to hold them accountable. For one, you don't have sex into play because sex obviously can deem if a relationship is good or not. But what you do have is this person there for me when I really need them? So for me, in my opinion, a lot of people, when it comes to, you have relationship, which people will automatically put more effort in. And a friendship is something like, we're cool. So they won't put as much effort into it. It's much harder to find good friends that'll put that extra effort than it is to find a relationship. My
But the
opinion.
thing that you explained from that you want from friends is what I look for in a relationship. Maybe that's why I'm still single, but that's what I look for in a relationship is I want somebody that I can count on. I want somebody to hold me accountable. I want somebody
Mhm.
that can have those tough conversations with as well. So kind of how you explain your friends, that's what I'm looking for in a partner as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's technically the same thing. So, for
Yeah.
example, you will need both traits in both sides. The reason why I say it's harder to find a good friend is again because of the effort level. To make a friendship, you will put a lot less effort in to establish a friendship than you will put effort to get in someone's pants and establish a bond with them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you put it in perspective, you'll put a lot less effort on one thing than you would on the other. So this is
Yeah.
why I say it's harder,
Okay, I got that point. So, I
especially
mean,
on the pants.
yeah, especially the pants part. Sometimes that takes no effort for people, but let's move on from there. Is it toxic if someone wants to access your phone or your passwords?
To be honest with you, can I say I'm in the middle? Is it allowed to say I'm in the
You
middle?
need to
And
explain
I'm
why,
between.
but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'll explain why. For me, it's a gray zone. What did you do for the other person to want your phone? Is it a you problem or is it a their problem? If it's a their problem, it's toxic. If it's a you problem, you're toxic. And in that sense, no, I don't think it's toxic from the other person to ask for your phone.
So sharing a phone is toxicity, so keep your phone to yourself.
Yes, more or less, but again, it depends on the context. So if I've been moving shady, if I've been moving foxy, then yeah, I think my partner asking to see my phone wouldn't be a toxic behavior on their part.
Yeah.
Is hiding your phone from your partner toxic?
Hell yeah. Hell
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, good. We can agree on it then. Yeah, cool.
I mean, I even said to somebody that if they turn their phone upside down on the nightstand, I find that toxic because you're hiding something.
Okay, but that just might be by luck. That would just be sheer accident. Doesn't
It
mean that
was
they actually
every
want to hide
time.
something. And what
Every
ended up
time.
happening?
Yeah, we weren't together.
No, I know, but did you find out like the guy was actually moving shady?
Oh, I'm not going through anyone's phone, but for me, yeah, at the end of the day, we weren't together, so definitely shit went down on that one, right? But I think that, and this is where that toxic stuff comes in, and in maybe insecurities, right? Because if people turn their phone upside down, it feels for me that they're hiding something. But for other people, it may be, okay, well, I'm turning my phone upside down because I'm trying to give you my full attention, and if I keep seeing my phone light up, I might want to grab it.
That is
Yeah,
me.
isn't that you?
For
Yeah.
example, yeah, yeah. For me, this is when I'm speaking to someone, even when I'm speaking to you in person. I don't know if you've ever noticed, I flip my phone upside down. So I'm definitely not cheating on you. Uh, but it's more about really just putting my focus because it's exactly that. When you see the light bubbling, then you get unfocused.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes it's I forgot what I was gonna say, but this probably wasn't the smartest comment, so we'll keep it going.
I mean, I kind of want to know though, from your side, like, has there ever been a time where you tried to take someone's phone and then you realized it wasn't worth it? Like, as in there was nothing, and then you overreacted.
I've only taken somebody's phone once, and that was with my ex, and it was definitely worth it
Yeah,
because that's why
that's
we ended up
definitely.
breaking up.
Yep.
But
I know
I've
the
never
story. Yep.
taken anyone's phone after that again because I just don't think it's worth my stress. If I don't feel the trust or I just don't feel like, if I feel like I have to go through your phone, I just can't be with you at that point because it's too hard for me to sit there and wonder every single day of what you're actually doing on your phone.
Yeah.
But I also think that it comes with a lot of insecurities too, right? So for
Yes.
me,
It does.
if you can't trust that person, it's not gonna work. So you can try to build on that trust, but that has to come from both ends. Yeah. I don't know. For me, it's not worth it. Yeah, not worth it.
Yeah.
I
Fair
keep
enough.
thinking about it in my
I
head and
agree.
I'm like, no, in no world is it okay to check somebody's phone. And I also think I always talk about this, but intention behind things, right? So I've
Right.
seen partners, when somebody's driving, the other person grabs that person's phone and they're just like, hey, babe, respond to my text for me. That means they have nothing to hide and it's just a healthy relationship. But
Yeah.
I've also seen other sides where somebody's phone is blinging up the whole time and then they just like put it away and they put on silent and the girlfriend goes, "Oh, but I can respond for you." And they're like, "No, I'll reply to it later. Don't worry. Like just put my phone away. Don't touch it."
But don't you also think that that comes a little bit with, because again, yes, intention is the whole point, but how about also seeing the intention on the other side being like, nice, chill, I'll just respond later, but it's
Yeah, and
nothing
there is
deep
that too.
behind it. Yeah, yeah.
There is
So
that too.
maybe I'm too optimistic about things, but it's I always try to also give the benefit of the doubt unless I have concrete evidence. If for example, if my partner has been cheating on me in the past or whatever, then yeah, that would be something I'd immediately question. But if
Yeah.
it's a healthy relationship, I wouldn't find any reason to doubt it.
Yeah. But if your partner's cheated on you, are you really going back?
I wouldn't. Some people do. It's just how it is.
I just feel like there's that sense of you can never trust them again. So doesn't that make it toxic when you continuously have to ask them, what were you doing last night? And that's the whole reason of this podcast. The whole time we've been talking about the toxic energy. And if somebody cheated on you, that you're not just the next time that he flies to Miami with his boys, just be like, oh yeah, have fun for a week. Don't worry about
Yeah.
messaging me or anything. You're gonna be constantly thinking he's doing something
Of
or her.
But to me, the element of coming back to your cheating ex, or well, I would assume at that point your partner again, I think it has a little bit to do with ego. And the reason why I say this is because I feel like a lot of people think, especially women, like I don't want to narrow it down really, but it's more women have this thing of I can fix him. And then they start being super competitive with themselves about I can fix him. Like it's some sort of achievement if they even manage to fix him. So I think that's where it comes from mostly. Of course, you have the people that are fully obsessed and super emotionally attached to the person. Again, they're emotionally attached to the idea of the person because no, you wouldn't ask anybody, are you fine with them cheating on you? And they would say yes. So I think it's the idea of it and also, yeah, just the competition inside them of being like, yeah, I can fix him.
Yeah. I also think it's the effort that you put into the relationship. If you've put 2, 3 years, however long, even 6 months, if you've put a couple of months of effort into somebody and not by trying to fix them, but spending time, spending money, like meeting each other's families, all that kind of stuff, and then they do something like that to you, it hurts more. And that's where you're like, why did you do that? And then you try to understand the situation of why they did it. And that's maybe why you fix it because you're like, damn, I put so much time and effort into this. Am I really just
Yeah.
gonna let it go? When in reality, yeah, you should just let it go, right?
I think a lot of people just like I 100% agree with you. Just think a lot of people don't, they don't are not mentally aware of this type of mentality. But yeah,
Yeah, that's very true. All right. I'm gonna read out a little story to you and you tell me what you think. Let's
you
let's
go for it.
dictate if this is healthy or toxic, okay?
All right. Yep.
All right. There's a girl, let's call her Sam. She's been dating a guy and let's call him Dre. For about 8 months, things get intense, sleepovers every other night, super close, but he definitely has some insecurity vibes. One night, she goes to a friend's game night. Mixed crowd, chill energy, board games, and wine. She tells Dre about it earlier in the week, even invites him, but he says he's too tired and tells her to go have fun. An hour into the night, Sam posts a story. It's a boomerang of the table, cards, drinks, and just a quick flash of the people sitting around her. Nothing wild. 2 minutes later, 2 minutes later, Dre texts, wow, so you just out here with random dudes now. Then says, bet, say less, and blocks her off everything on social media. Then comes back hour later and says, "Sorry, I overreacted. I thought I lost you."
Run. Genuinely, my first instinct would be run. Run as fast as you can, as far as you can. Um, can I give you my opinion on it?
Yeah.
So my first question would be, you're too tired to engage in something like that, but you're not tired at all of just being on social media. And 2 minutes later, after the story goes up, you immediately on your girlfriend's ass. So you're not too
Mhm.
tired for that, right? The most importantly is, if other men being in the same room as your woman makes you go this berserk, clearly you have some issues. And I think you should probably not go into any relationships anytime soon. Step back, go to therapy, buddy, speak about
Yourself.
it, like check yourself. And yeah, poor girl. No, of course, I would 100% say this is toxic behavior.
You know what? I've met girls that would say, "Oh, this is so attractive. He cares so much about me." And I'm like, "Oh, you don't know the difference between healthy and toxic."
Nope. Um, I've met girls that would say their boyfriends being extremely possessive is something that they wouldn't be able to live without. Like, that would break up if he wasn't as possessive. And whenever I asked why, they're like, I like the chase. And I'm like, but what kind of chase is there? Well, the chase is him chasing me after everywhere, everything I do, he's always on my ass. And the chase from my side is me crying to him and having to like build that spark. I'm like, I cannot believe that's actually like something you spent your energy on to try and make happen. But I'm sure you've also had them, women and men, which they just like a toxic relationship. They like having this back and forth.
I
Lights up
mean,
a
I've
fire.
definitely been in toxic situations, and somebody asked me the question, I mean, not somebody, my therapist asked me the question of, "Why did you stay?" That's like, I literally have no clue why I stayed. It was just fun for a while, and maybe I just didn't want a serious relationship, and the toxic
Yeah.
energy was like fun for a while. I'm not sure. I don't know if that makes me toxic. Let's hope not, but
Not really, but do you believe that some people stay in relationships even if they're toxic? I can speak for myself, by the way, because they think they wouldn't be able to find somebody else. Yeah,
But that's
I think that's pretty
insecurities,
common.
and that's you thinking that you're not good enough. So your self-worth is at an all-time low because of what you've been going through, and then you don't think that you're going to find somebody else. You may see somebody else thinking, "This person's so great, but it'll never be something like that for me." And now your
Yeah.
self-worth is at such a low that you're not leaving that relationship.
100%. Yeah, I agree. Which is a bit of a shame to see because most of the time that you see this is usually in bad relationships. Because in good relationships, no one really thinks I'm not going to find anyone else because they usually get all the love and care from their partner to make them believe I deserve this type of love. I deserve this type of treatment, so I can find it somewhere else probably as well.
That's a good call. That's
So,
a
partners, fix up. Stop being toxic. Can I cuss in this talk show?
yes.
Stop being little bitches. Treat your partners right, please. I beg you. Treat them with respect.
I just saw this thing on TikTok yesterday that was like, "Oh shit, there are guys like that." It was this guy that did a like a poem reading, but he was
Mhm.
talking about how he treats his woman and she sends him Instagram messages all the time or like little memes or videos, but he actually takes the time to watch all of it and to see it. And a lot of guys will complain and say, "Why are you sending me so many Instagram messages?" and like these are dumb and blah blah blah. But he was even saying watch those with intention because there's always a mixed message of why she's sending it or a hidden message of why she's sending it. Take it in, understand it, and then do something about it or not. Or maybe it's a meme about, PDA or whatever. Maybe next time go hold her hand when you guys are out, right? And he was
Yeah.
talking about how men just don't take the smallest and easiest hints and
Hints.
they rather complain about that their person is over bombing them with like sending them Instagram memes and blah blah blah, but they're not actually taking the small hints.
To be honest, first and foremost, I'm very happy that the only memes my girlfriend sends me are finance memes. So big up. But
That's so you too.
no, I've definitely been there. My thing though, and this is what I also communicated in my past relationship when this was happening, is if you want me to change something, why don't you just tell me? Why do you have to send me reels and memes? Like I have to sit down and think, okay, does this mean something more than it does? Like have to start doing all this the meme where actually like the
Yeah,
mathematics are starting to pop up. Like, why do I have to be that person? Why don't you just come directly and tell me, baby, I need you to hold my hand more often. Baby, I need you to, wrap your arm around me when we're out in public more so I feel closer to
Yeah,
you.
but do you know how many people say that, but you ask for so much when it's literally the bare minimum?
It is the very bare minimum. On that, I will agree. But then I also come back and throw back the question. It's like, then why are you with a person that can't even give you the bare minimum? Because I think it's sometimes it is a bit of a black and white. Like I know usually things aren't. In this case, it is okay, but people will say, "Oh, but you're asking too much." Cool. So clearly, that's not the type of person you want to be with. You should never ever be afraid to ask something from your partner and at least not expect a compromise back. Just a compromise. It doesn't have to be the full thing, but at least hey, I'm not an affectionate type, but sure, I'll try to hold your hand more in public. I'll try to put my arm around you more in public.
Yeah, so
So
understanding it instead of just shooting it down right away. I think that's a huge thing is you want to be heard as a
yeah,
partner, right?
100%, but not through memes. Like I still
Okay.
stand by that. I think communication should be direct. It should never be through hints or whatever. I'm also not a fan because this it's touching on this topic. I'm also not a firm believer of a silent treatment. I'm not amazing at it, to be honest. Sometimes I struggle with it, but I've gotten better at it, I have to say. But silent treatment is the worst thing, which is like, okay, did I do something wrong? I don't know. Did you? You know how most women will be
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Did you do something to make me mad? Just come straight to the table, be like, this is what pissed me off. This is why you're a complete dickhead. And this is what I want you to never do again. And
Yeah.
then the problem is solved almost immediately.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, yeah.
100% agreed. Amazing. Well, that's actually all I got for you today. We are going to
Damn.
have you on another podcast. I think it was in a week or 2 weeks. We're going to touch on
Hopefully.
some financial questions as well, since I know you and I have very different views on finances. So that'll be a
Yeah.
fun one.
That'll
So
be very fun,
that'll be a
actually.
very good one. Yeah. But
Thank you
thank
so
you so
much for
much for
having me.
being here. It was great. We'll see you soon, Perseus.
Thank you. Guys, don't cancel me, by the way, okay? Just don't cancel me. All right. Ciao, ciao. Take care.